tell you about the time I took Andy for a walk when he was quite small?
I don't think so, no.
Well, as I was the only girl with 3 brothers, I was kind of expected to look after Andy, who was 7 years younger than me. And I must have been about 8. So Andy would have been 7 months, something like that. And Mum asked me to take him for a walk. And we had this big carriage-built pram. You don't see them so much nowadays. It was blue and I put the hood up. And it was quite difficult for me to push because I was quite small. Anyway, we lived on a hill. And I remember going to the top of the hill and beginning to push him down the hill. And of course, it went too fast and I was running and I let go.
Ah!
And I don't know whether I remember this correctly, but we had a window on our house that looked onto the road. And I seem to remember my mum said she saw the pram go past and I was running after it. It wasn't really funny actually, because it was a very steep hill and it gradually got faster. At the bottom, it went flat and there was a friend of Paul's, our older brother, who was at the bottom. He must have been about 13 or 14. And he saw the pram coming and he tried to stop it, but it was going so fast, there was no way. I think he may have hurt himself actually. But it went over and tipped sideways. And I'm still belting after it. I get to the bottom and look in the pram and Andy's still asleep. Because Mum had wrapped him in the blanket, put it really tightly round him so he'd not moved. And the pram was such a big, well-built thing and had springs and stuff, it kind of protected him. So I just got it upright again and he was perfectly all right. But I think Mum was kind of running down the road to see what was happening. Anyway, it was all perfectly all right and he was perfectly all right.
Was in the year of '89 on that old Chicago line when the winter wind was blowing shrill. The rails were froze, the wheels were cold, and then the air brakes wouldn't hold, and number 9 came roaring down the hill. Oh, the runaway train came down the track and she blew. The runaway train came down the track and she blew. The runaway train come down the track, the whistle wide and the throttle back, and she blew. Oh, the engineer said the train must halt, and she blew. The engineer said the train must halt, and she blew. The engineer said the train must halt. He said it was all the fireman's fault, and she blew, 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 blew. Oh, the fireman said he rang the bell and she blew. The fireman said he rang the bell and she blew. The fireman said he rang the bell. The engineer said you did like, and she blew. Oh, the porter got an awful fright and she blew. The porter got an awful fright and she blew. The porter got an awful fright. He got so scared that he turned white and she blew. Oh, a drummer sat in the parlor car and she blew. A drummer sat in the parlor car and she blew. A drummer sat in the parlor car and he nearly swallowed a fat cigar and she blew, 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 blew. Oh, the runaway train went over the hill and she blew. The runaway train went over the hill and she blew. The runaway train went over the hill and the last we heard she was going still and she blew, blew,